Was Noah from the Bible an Atlantean?
Yes.
Who was it that gave him the instructions to build the ark?
Extraterrestrials.
So interesting. Atlantean gene concentration. Is there a region, country, city that has a population that is mostly Atlantean genetics?
Aztec and Basque.
You shared with us that there was another civilization before Atlantis, and it had to do with Lemuria and Atlantis. And so can you tell us a little more about the the Lemurian civilization?
Yes, they were again more direct offshoots of the Anunnaki. Many of them had slightly tinted blue skin. They existed in, again, the Asian continent and are remembered to some degree by some of the ancient Indian so-called gods that have blue skin, which is a direct representation of some of the ancient Anunnaki, but also a representation to some degree of the later Lemurians, or Muans, as they called their area, Mu. Lemuria is a later appellation given by a more modern person. So the Muans, occupying the South Pacific area of land masses that have now submerged under the ocean, was a more natural civilization, more connected to nature, built some structures, but not as many as you would think, and built them in a more natural way. Had a stronger sense of telepathy, a stronger sense of communication with all things in nature, were truly people of the land. And it was a very lush environment in which they lived.
The story of Noah's Ark?
In a sense, it did happen, but it's not limited to the one story that's in the Bible, and there are some things that are a little bit different than what was related. But it basically talks about the flood. It talks about the time when an asteroid struck the Atlantic Ocean, wiped out Atlantis, and caused massive change and tsunamis in different places in North, South, Central America, in Europe, in Africa, in the Mediterranean. Many different people traveled on different kinds of boats and vehicles to save themselves and perpetuate some of their culture. That is the story of Noah's Ark. But if you actually examine many different cultures around your world, you'll find they all have similar stories, except for the South Sea Islanders who live in the Pacific who didn't experience that because the asteroid fell in the Atlantic. So there are different Noah's Ark stories by different names in various cultures in the North, Central, South Americas, in Europe, in Africa, the Mediterranean, and so on and so forth. They all represent a general reality, a general truth of a massive flood catastrophe from an asteroidal or cometary strike.
It's very interesting.
Yes, it is.
And these people that build the boats, who warned them? Who told them to build the boats?
Well, some of their own people may have, because again, remember that throughout your civilization, there have always been intuitives. There have always been mediums and channels and people who could converse with beings on other levels, and sometimes they might receive such information from extraterrestrial sources who might say, hey, there's a big rock on the way. You better get ready. So it can be many different sources for different cultures.
Oh my god! That noise! Suppressing! Is that good for
That is Stonehenge. It's very cool. But what it actually does is going to blow your mind. I learned that this was a seasonal clock, and it is, but you have to look at it from a different lens. This is what sound looks like going through water. This is Stonehenge. It is built on top of an aquifer. So, who else builds their things on top of water? Well, I showed you in the last video that pretty much everybody builds their best stuff on top of water, even Tesla. Light goes through it. Light can melt the hardest things on the planet when focused, and when used for communication, it's the fastest way to do that. It looks like a pattern of sound. Sound travels fastest through solids and can destroy cities if it's a big enough wave. Sound is a bigger wave than light. Sound can move mediums it passes through, like water, and bend the light. That's how we get cymatic images. You can see this in the twinkling of stars as well. Our technology sends ones and zeros through light. Let's pretend everything around us is made of a very unique vibration that can be expressed in a frequency. Or you can grow crops with it.
Oh my god. Yeah. Please share your thoughts on all of this stuff that has passed. You see some guys the previous that were talking, they have some information about ETs and all that, and makes me wonder if those guys are from Earth. Otherwise, how do they get that information? What? Communities can possess someone like demons do? Oh, anyway, I leave that up to you. Please help us understand in the comment section. Like, now what is this wonderful human here making? This is incredible. It looks like he's making pancakes, donuts, or something like that. What? Or this is a map? Huh. What is this? I thought this guy was baking something, and until now I've seen those symbols on what stuff or what was being baked. And now this is very surprising. I realized that he actually wasn't baking something and was trying to show us this. What are these symbols? That symbol looks like an eye, another one like the Freemasons square and that. What do you call them? Those things that look like square and compass? That sign is what I'm talking about. The one that is on this top. What is it? This is creepy. Oh my god. Wow, where do these guys get this stuff? With the creepy drawings? Or guys make this stuff and tell us it's ancient stuff? Oh, I don't know. You please share your thoughts. Let's see what this wonderful guy here is up to. Oh my god. Oh, these are always very creepy stuff. Oh, these things he does on my mind sometimes. And I can't understand how. What? Oh, where do these guys get these things? Yo, that's incredible! Oh my god!
The paranormal chick here. Take a look at this spooky video. A father and daughter were out walking their dog at night when the father records his daughter suddenly stop and looking directly at the buildings in front of her. He doesn't see what she initially tells him she sees. It wasn't until he goes back and re-reviews the footage that he recorded that he saw an unidentified creature. It looked like it was in between the buildings floating. Take a look at this and tell me what you think it is.
Oh, what is that thing now? You see? Yeah.
So I got to see Bashar in person in Vegas a couple weeks ago, and he was amazing. So if you don't know, Bashar is an extraterrestrial who's channeled through a guy named Daryl Anka, and whether you believe in ETs or channeling or whatever, it's besides the point, because the information that comes from Bashar is awesome. It's great. It's great information to live a better life. And one of the things he was talking about at this particular speech was the formula. And this is the formula that the extraterrestrials, who he calls Bashar, has basically boiled down to how humans can manifest the best and live the most purpose-driven life. And there's 3 steps to it, but it essentially is, follow your passion, right? So find your passion, follow your passion until you can't follow it anymore. Meaning basically, like, do it as long as it's still a passion to you. Do it to the utmost of your potential. Do the shit out of it. Find your passion and do the shit out of your passion. Okay, love it, live it, enjoy it, do all those things. And then once you get to that point where maybe it's not your passion anymore, maybe it's not bringing the same level of joy that it used to, it's okay to then at that point find your next passion and move on. Okay, you don't have to do something for the rest of your life. We go through cycles, we go through seasons, we go through changes, and that's totally okay. So that's number 1. Find your passion, do the shit out of it, and then whenever it's not your passion anymore, move on to the next one. Okay, and then another important point that he says in the formula is you have to do this with absolutely zero expectation of the final result. Meaning, this kind of goes against what a lot of people do with manifestation and visualization, where you actually visualize the end result and work yourself back from that. You reverse engineer it, right? So you're like, okay, say I want to be a Grammy Award winning, you know, songwriter. Then you visualize the end, and then you reverse engineer. Okay, what are the steps I have to take to get there? What he's saying is the opposite. He's saying that you need to find your passion, do the shit out of your passion, but don't worry about the end result. Don't visualize the final steps. Enjoy the path, enjoy the journey, because you don't know what that end result's going to be, because life has zigs and zags, you know what I mean? And if you're too steadfast on one exact like final image type deal, then what you're doing is you're sort of, you know, setting yourself up for failure, because what you've done is you've put so much intention and focus into this final image, this final conclusion, that if you don't hit that, or if what you end up getting to is different than that, then a lot of people would consider that a failure, or that maybe they didn't make it to the end, you know? So what you want to do is you just want to have fun. Like, you want to have fun pursuing your passion. So find your passion, pursue it, have fun, enjoy it, and don't worry so much about what it's going to look like in the end. Don't worry about so much that final, you know, goal. It's okay to have goals. It's okay to visualize along the way. It's okay to kind of daydream, right? But don't get married to any of these things, because like I said, you're going to have some zigs and zags, and maybe the final result ends up being different than what you would have thought about when you first started this. And that's okay. That doesn't mean it's a failure or anything. That's how life goes. Life is organic and fluid, and we're sort of making it up as we go along. So I thought that was very powerful, because too many times we create like vision boards. We create these pictures in our head where we're like, this is what it's going to be. This is the end result. And when you do that, you're sort of shaving away all these other possibilities, because there's all these other possibilities that maybe at the beginning you didn't think about. But then in the end, you're like, oh, I'm glad I didn't, you know, put myself in a box there, because this ended up working out better than I ever would have imagined. But when I first started this journey, that wasn't even like an idea. You know what I mean? That wasn't a concept. Sometimes things just organically come into the flow of your journey that you never would have foresaw at the beginning, but you're happy that they did. And sometimes if you get too rigid in your thinking of the final outcome, you will eliminate those, and you might just zip right by them and not even see it and not even embrace it, because you're like, nope, that's not part of my vision board. That's not part of my visualization. You see what I'm saying? So I love his idea of this more, I don't know, loosey-goosey kind of a manifestation plan. You know what I mean? Like still have your visualization, still have your goals, still have a general idea of where you want to go. That's very important, to be goal driven, but don't make them too rigid. You know, don't write them in stone. Know that life is organic, things change, and kind of go with the flow a little bit. And so that's what Bashar says is the formula, and I like that. I also think it's very important, the first step, which is don't get married too much to one idea and one passion, because as you go through life, you're going to change. Your lifestyle is going to change, your friends are going to change, your environment is going to change, you know, all sorts of things are going to change. So something you were super driven by and super into 10 years ago, you might not even care about anymore. So you don't want to make something your life's work. What you want to do is make it your passion, and that passion might last a day, it might last a year, it might last 10 years, you know, but that's up to your path and your journey. Don't go into it at the beginning saying, you know, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, and then 10 years later you're like, man, I don't have any joy in this anymore, I'm not getting joy out of this, but I still must do it because I committed to it. That's a recipe for disaster, because at the bottom, at the core of all this, while we do want to expand our consciousness and we want to evolve our spirituality and our essence and our personality and our consciousness, we want to grow as a human being, we also want to have fun. You know what I mean? Like, this world is beautiful, look at it, you know? So we want to have fun, we want to enjoy life, you want to be able to relax and breathe and be like, ah, I am enjoying this journey, as opposed to just head down, you know, like just work, like, you know. So it's really important to kind of find that balance. And I think that this formula by Bashar is a perfect way to find that balance, because you're not getting caught up in the end result. You're allowed to change your passions as your passions change, and you're actually encouraged to do so. And I think that's pretty important, which is kind of the opposite of what most manifestation teachers would teach. So anyways, that's Bashar's formula. Let me know, what do you guys think about that? Have a beautiful day. Peace.
Oh, that's a wonderful guy with a wonderful beard. Much love.
Is there a technology besides our consciousness that we can create that will facilitate time travel? A machine?
Yes, except time travel isn't what you think it is.
Okay.
There is no time travel in what you call the science fiction sense. What you're actually doing is shifting to a parallel reality that simply looks remarkably similar to the one you consider to be your past. but it's not the same timeline.
But
it
there
can't be.
Would there be a machine that can help us? And
Yes,
what
yes.
does that look? What's the technology of that machine?
Well, you have to create a device that will create a kind of energy bubble that isolates you from any particular reality, so that you can impose upon it the frequency of the reality, the parallel reality you prefer to experience. And when you impose that upon it and then remove the bubble, you will wind up in that reality because you've shifted your frequency location to a parallel reality one. Let us say you are 10 years old and you take a picture of yourself. And then you develop the picture, and there it is. You put it on the table. There's the picture of you at 10. Now you grow up, let's say you're 30 years old, and you take a picture of yourself at 30. And at 30, you now invent your time machine. So you say, all right, I'm going to get in my time machine. I'm going to go back and visit myself when I was 10. You meet this 10-year-old who is theoretically you when you were 10, and you take another picture of your 30-year-old self with the 10-year-old self. And you put that on the table along with the picture of the 10-year-old and the picture of the 30-year-old, and now the picture of the 30-year-old with the 10-year-old. All three pictures exist simultaneously, which means you didn't change the first picture. You weren't there then. What you've done is gone into the reality of another 10-year-old.
That guy always blows my mind. He never ceases to surprise me.
They don't want you to know. They don't want you to discover the truth. Notice well. There is something beyond what they show. There is a truth. Only they hide from us. Because the system imprisons us, and they want to keep us imprisoned, because nobody discloses these things, because no one reveals the truth. What's behind the system? Look what will happen. Notice well. Notice well what is happening in the world. They don't want you to find these things out. What is it? What is it? How to explain this? How to explain these events? Because they hide it from us. Awakened, you are up.
Oh my god! What is that now?
This isn't leather, it's actually mangoes. But how do you go from this to this? Let me tell you. Two guys from the Netherlands developed a way of giving waste mangoes a new life as an alternative to leather. Mangoes, which would usually end up in landfill, are collected and destoned and are then turned into a puree. Some natural additives are mixed in to help protect and strengthen the material. Then the puree is spread evenly and dehydrated into sheets. Finally, it is coated with a protective glaze and embossed to look and feel like an authentic leather product. It's completely waterproof and is made entirely of natural materials. Tanning traditional leather uses harmful chemicals that are released into the environment, polluting waterways and exposing workers and local people to massive health risks. So alternatives like this can help provide a safer future for many whilst fighting food waste at the same time. Would you wear fruit leather? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tap the like button for more ideas like this.
That's incredible! Myself, I don't want a mango suit! What? To look nice!
Perfected the art of using a slingshot. He completely crushes this throw with authority.
Oh my god!
I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited for what's to come. So, BlackRock is currently seeding an account. And to make it simple, what I mean by that, BlackRock being the largest asset manager in the world with almost a market cap of gold globally, has been seeding an account. That account is going to be used to buy Bitcoin. Also, a couple days ago, or was it maybe yesterday, the ticker for BlackRock's ETF, which is going to flow billions, if not a few $1 trillion just into Bitcoin alone, the ticker symbol is IBTC, and it was leaked. So put these things together. The ticker is now created and leaked. BlackRock has openly discussed how they want Bitcoin on their balance sheet, how they think Bitcoin is going to revolutionize the financial system. BlackRock has the most power out of shit. I mean, they're almost more powerful than most countries outside of maybe the US, but at the same time they kind of control the US. So they're one of the most powerful entities in the world, and they're talking about how they want Bitcoin. The ticker symbol was leaked, and they've been seeding an account that they're going to use to buy Bitcoin. So that tells me that the approval of a Bitcoin ETF is probably right around the corner. Why would you be taking these steps if that's not the case? Why would you be seeding an account with billions of dollars? Think about that for a minute. Doesn't make any sense unless maybe the SEC is about to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF for them, which would then cascade into a bunch of approvals, not just with BlackRock, but ARK Invest and many others would get approved shortly after. The point of talking about this with y'all is because I think that we're here. I think that we're at that inception point where the market has finally shifted from a bear market to a bull market. And it doesn't mean that everything's going to skyrocket to millions and millions of dollars right now, right? It doesn't mean that Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million right now. But the point is that the market has turned, and the market turning, right, is a good thing for people that are investing in it. I think the new financial system is here. That new financial system is going to be crypto. It's just a matter of what ones. And clearly Bitcoin is not going anywhere because these corporations and these companies wouldn't put billions and billions of dollars into it if it wasn't here to stay. So, food for thought. Think about it. Let me know what you think.
Oh my god! Oh, run at the people! What do you think about
I
that?
swear I switched into a parallel universe yesterday. Seriously, no BS. So I saw this story online that said actor Burt Reynolds died. So when I looked it up later, it turned out it was actor Burt Young from the Rocky movies. Okay, maybe I made a mistake, but I swear it said Burt Reynolds. So I decided to look up Burt Reynolds, and you want to know what I found? He's already dead. He died like 5 years ago. No, this is impossible. I just saw him in a movie that came out last year. It's called The Last Movie Star, with that chick from Modern Family and a small part with Chevy Chase. Burt Reynolds plays kind of a retired actor jerk in the movie. And I saw it a couple months ago, but the key point is it was made last year. But when I looked it up, it said this thing was made 6 years ago. No way! I swear, in my universe, Burt Reynolds was alive till yesterday. And now they're saying he's been dead for 6 years. What the heck is going on? If anybody else remembers this, let me know. Shabadoo Bushkis, Shabadoo.
Oh my god! It's like something is not something. Oh.
There seems to be some oddities occurring in Mexico. Take a look at this next footage. This was captured in Mazatlan, Sinaloa, Mexico. The witness starts recording because it rains, but it's not the rain that causes an uproar with people throughout the little town. It's what comes down from the rain. Foam starts collecting in all the streets around Mazatlan. What could cause this? Is this a natural phenomenon, or is this something else? Take a look and you tell me.
Acaba de llover en Mazatlán, Sinaloa, en la Gutiérrez Nájera. Entiendo la inundación, entiendo lo mojado, pero la espuma, como por qué. Está lleno de espuma en la calle. Está bien raro este asunto. Mira, allá se ve la avenida, el cruce. Todo está lleno de espuma. Y ahí viene.
normal. It's like deities are dispersing their own water.
I'm gonna tell you how all of this ties together, and we're talking about how the story of Jesus is the story of the sun, is the story of your Kundalini awakening, is the number 9, is the story of Santa Claus. And for 99% of you, it's just gonna go right over your head. You're not gonna comprehend what I'm saying. That is why in the Gospel of Thomas, it is said that he will choose 1 out of every 1,000 and 2 out of every 10,000. But this is also what separates the 1% from the 99%. It's not money, even though most of you think it is. It's knowledge, because all of these secret societies, every single one of them are descendants from the Egyptian school of mystery. And despite what you think, thought, thoth, this is not up for debate. This is the truth. If you don't like it and you don't receive it, that is not my problem. The reason I am giving this information is because personally, I think information should be free, especially information of this caliber. No matter what anyone chooses to call me, I will never be called a gatekeeper. I also highly suggest that you don't just listen to me, that you go out and you do your own research. Now let's get it started and ha! So I would say that most people know the story of Jesus. Did you know that on December the 21st, the sun goes through a constellation called Crux, also known as Cross, where it is crucified, where the sun dies. Now, December 21st is the shortest and the darkest day of the year. The sun has died. Now, for the next 3 days, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, this is what's known as the winter solstice. And the sun is dead and in the tomb until December 25th. Christmas, where the sun begins its upward trajectory. Now this does have a double meaning because it represents the Jesus coming out of the tomb, but it also represents Jesus being born, because these things are never just one thing, they're always multi-layered. So 30 days after December 25th, the sun is in Aquarius. 30 years after Jesus is born, he enters into the river and gets baptized by John the Baptist. John the Baptist is the man of the water. Aquarius is the water bearer. After Jesus / the sun gets baptized, it moves on through Pisces, doing all of the spiritual work, and then it gets to Aries, where it becomes the offering to God, the sacrifice. The ancients called it the Ram of God, come to take away the cold of the winter. Christians later changed that to the Lamb of God, come to take away the sins of the world. Easter and Christmas are so double layered it's not even funny. Because while I said that the sun traveling through Pisces after Aquarius represents the spiritual work between the baptism and the crucifixion, it also represents the time after the resurrection, all the way up to that Aries ascension, when Jesus ascended to the heavens. Okay, Santa Claus. There is a part of the brain called the Santa Claustrum. On the day that the moon goes into your sun sign, the Santa Claustrum will release a drop of fluid that goes all the way down your spine and sits at the very bottom, at the fusion of 5 vertebrae called the stone. This is why in the story of Jacob, he laid his head on a stone. So from the Santa Claustrum, the Santa Claus goes down your chimney, chi in me, all the way down to the bottom. And if you follow the exact steps that come from observing the story of Jesus and watching the sun move through the zodiac, you will activate the right hemisphere of your brain. This is why Jesus said cast your net to the right side. This is why when the sun is in Leo and it is King of Kings and Lord of Lords, it sits in the eastern sky, the right side. Everything right, nothing left. Shout out to my man 777 Trooper. Because on the day that the moon goes into your sun sign, that drop of fluid goes down, and you have to raise it all 33 levels of vertebrae. This is why Jesus died at 33, because at the top of the 33rd vertebrae, there's a nerve junction. There's 2 nerves that come together, making the shape of a cross. You have to raise the Christos, Christ oil. Oil is an anagram for Leo. Leo is the sun. You have to raise this oil, all 33 levels of vertebrae, let it get crucified on the cross, where it'll go to the pituitary gland, which represents the feminine, and it secretes milk, and also the pineal gland. The pineal represents the masculine, and it secretes honey. The land of milk and honey. This is the promised land, spoken about in the Old Testament. The Israelites had to wander around in the desert for 40 years before they could go to the promised land. Why? Because in order for this to work, you have to be in at least a 4-day fast. Start fasting a day or so before the moon goes into your sun sign, and when it leaves, you've been there for 4 days, and 40 is just 4, because 4 plus 0 is 4, and everything's just numerology and astrology. We're still not done. It goes deeper. The sun's name is Sol. It is the solar system. You have a solar plexus. How important is the solar plexus? The solar plexus is you, essentially. You are a sun. You are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Guess what? So are the stars. But as above, so below. The stars are you and you are them. This also works directly in you. The sun is the dividing line. As above, so below. So be Leo. Leo is the sun. Leo is ego. Guess what else is ego? The number 9. Number 9 represents human consciousness. It represents earth. It represents you. The word Adam equals 9 in Hebrew. This is I will, I do, I speak, I see. It is the knowledge that you yourself exist. Anything below the solar plexus. This is 666. This is beast consciousness. 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. But if you raise the chrism oil up Shoot it up to the pineal and pituitary gland. Well, that's 144,000. Multiply the number of petals on the Hindu chakra system by 1,000, you get 144,000. This is the 144,000 saved souls. And this only happens if you raise the Christos oil all the way up to your brain, get it all completed, and activate the right hemisphere of your brain. And this is Christ consciousness. There is no other way. There is only this one. If you give in to lust, if you give in to the food need, consume processed sugar, speak ill of your brother, the Santa Claustrum, the Santa Claus is not going to give you gifts, he's going to give you cold. Because the Santa Claustrum will secrete this stuff called neuromelanin. It's like little black particles that go into your bloodstream, causing you to age, causing you to have chronic illness. If you've been naughty, you get cold. But if you're good and you do all of this stuff and you follow all of the steps, then your spinal fluid gets regenerated. You basically get all new spinal fluid. Your blood cells get regenerated. You get all new blood. Dead and dormant brain cells become reactivated. The right hemisphere of your brain becomes activated for the first time in your life. You grew up thinking that you were either right-brained or left-brained. No, everyone was left-brained. You have to activate the right hemisphere. You're not born with that. And this is why by raising the oil, achieving your Christ consciousness, following all the steps, Jesus will sit at the right hand of the Father. The Son will sit in the eastern sky. You'll be at a frequency of 144,000. You will have enlightenment. No, you're not gonna levitate off the ground. That's not what any of this means. But if you do it, you'll know. So give it a shot. Here's the steps. 1. Know what your sun sign is. Most people do. If you call yourself a Cancer, then you're a sun sign Cancer. That's basically people born between June 20th and fucking July 20th. Most people know their sign. So whatever you consider your sign, that's your sun sign. Know where the moon is, know where it's going. Between full moons, the moon will travel through all zodiacs, all 12. Moon goes into your sun sign, the process has started, but you want to know when it's gonna go in there so you can begin your fast minimum 1 to 2 days before. But what kind of fast? Only consume mineral water. If you must drink coffee, cool, make it out of mineral water. No processed sugars, no animal products, so no cream, no milk. The only thing I can suggest is coconut milk. It's the healthiest option you got. If you need a sweetener, use honey, use stevia. When it comes to food, no animal products, no processed sugar, only vegan product. But seriously, you don't want to do anything other than like berries and nuts. Keep it simple. No leafy greens and no animal products. No cigarettes or anything like that. No alcohol. No nutting. You cannot expel any type of sexual energy, men and women both. You have to give up the things of the flesh, the thing that the carnal mind wants, that 666, that beast consciousness. You have to give all of that up. Everyone has to carry their cross. Stay in a positive, meditative mindset. Meditate heavy. Is it easy? No. But nothing worth having ever is. Just got done with mine. And for those of you who ask how long does it take, it's only this 4-day process. Once the moon has gone into the next sign and it has left your sun sign, your fast is over. Grab you a cheeseburger and enjoy yourself. You did good, kid. My fast actually ended yesterday. Today is the sun sign Cancer's day. And guess what? Today, I will be having me a big ass juicy cheeseburger because I earned it. If you stuck around this long, look, if you want a no nonsense, down to earth reading and you want to know what your sun sign is, your moon sign is, if you want to know what your Mercury, Venus, and Mars and all your planetaries are, click the link in my bio. Either choose the Gospel of You reading or the Bible of You reading. We're giving the divinity back to you. Both of those contain astrology. The Gospel is more for beginners. The Bible is more for the advanced.
Yo, good people! What do you think about those today's videos? Leave a comment about what you think about them. And if you think they're interesting, well, they can only get more interesting. Let's do there because interesting stuff coming your way. You know what this information that people have here, these different videos you have been seeing, always does this my mind. And I can't stop thinking and wondering, where do these guys get this information? Some sounds peculiar and not to be trusted. But anyway, we are here for having good vibes, you see, and to have a good time and caring for one another out there. Hit the like button, share up and spread up from wherever you are. You see, it's all we are all about. Watch till the end kindly and help spread this message. By the way, and if you're going through anything in life, you see, or any hardships or tough times, don't worry about them. You see, I can only tell you this. You see, for a seed to grow, you must dig a hole and plant it, you see, and cover it with dirt for it to come up and bear good fruits, you see. Maybe these hard times you're going through is the time when the hole has just been dug and your good seed has been put there, you see. All this dirt maybe that you have been experiencing in your life is going to be over, and soon the tree of good fruits will grow, you see. Send love from wherever you are, share good vibes, and be a good human. Let's keep watching, man. What is this now? Oh my god, this looks like some good vibes bad that... What is it doing? What? Looks like the press is burning, is on fire, or what's up? Ah, my god, this is so sad. Oh, the bird is putting off the fire that is trying to consume its nest, Yeah. What could have caused this fire? Oh, I just wish it's not humans. Oh my god. Guys, please out there, take good care of the environment and animals. Treat them well with caring, compassion, love, good vibes. You see? What? But this animal is one of a kind. It managed to keep its nest and its eggs, and now it has babies. This not babies. Yeah, they are babies. This is incredible. You see, it has endured that tough times and the hotness, the temperatures. This is great. You see, when you endure all those tough times you are going through, eventually you have fruits and babies, because like in this case, babies are blessings which will come your way. Just endure. Hold on. You are special and wonderful. You see? You are loved. Watch it in the end, man.
Where's the sun at 12 noon? And invariably, more than half the cases, they point straight up. See it? Because light's coming from everywhere other than the sun as well.
Right.
All right? I mean, think about it. If the sun were over to the left and there's a tree and the tree makes a shadow, you shouldn't be able to see anything inside the shadow because the sun is not illuminating it. It should be completely dark, but it's not. Because light is coming from all the scattered light elsewhere in the atmosphere. On the moon, where there is no atmosphere, there's no scattered light. Shadows are pitch black.
Ooh.
All right.
That's actually kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. It is kind of, unless you have something reflecting light into the shadow.
Right.
There's no scattered light from the atmosphere. And by the way, that's why you can see stars in the daytime with the sun sitting in the sky. So let's get back to the South Pole.
Okay.
So the sun not only doesn't shine there, you can't even see in it. Right. All right. So now, what's making these craters?
A meteor or something.
Yeah.
Something hit it.
Thank you. I don't ask complicated questions.
Yeah. Something hit it and was just like
something hit it. Okay. Right. So meteors can be made of rock or they can be made of ice. They're comet fragments that are out there. So both can make these craters.
Right.
All right. So now, if a comet hits the moon and the material is now not rock, it's like water and other ices like ammonia ice and things. Let's focus on the water. The water molecules, there's a lot of energy there. It'll evaporate. The water molecule flies up, okay, and then falls back to the moon's surface. All right.
Right.
All right. Well, if it falls to a part of the surface that's in sunlight, it'll eventually evaporate and escape.
Right.
But suppose it happens to fall where the sun don't shine.
It stays frozen.
It stays frozen. It's called a cold trap. That's the official term for it. A cold trap. And it falls in there and it stays there for billions of years.
Ooh.
Let me say that right. Billions of years. And so the next mission to the moon, Artemis, the one where we're going to land, Artemis 3.
Right.
Artemis is the twin sister of Apollo. And Artemis was the goddess of the moon and other related things. They're targeting the South Pole to land to check and verify that there's water there inside those craters. We not only think there is theoretically, we have some measurements that there's likely water there. And now we're going to go and verify for sure. Because if there is, you don't need to bring water to the moon to drink.
Oh, look at that.
It's what's called ISRU, In Situ Resource Utilization, which is a NASA thing. And so
why bring sand to the beach? Why bring water to the moon? You ain't got to bring water to the moon.
Right. I like that. Why bring sand to the beach? Very good. Unless your beach ain't got no sand. If it's a rocky beach, I might bring sand. Right. So all of this is related to the fact that the sun doesn't get very high in the sky at the poles. That's all. That's why I started on Earth and I landed on the moon. Keep looking up.
Okay.
Dude, I found the craziest map. Check this out. If you ever wondered which countries were ancient civilizations, well, here it is. Check this out. The Queen of Sheba was from Yemen. Kush is now Ethiopia. Egypt's still Egypt. Persia is Iran. Great Babylon is Iraq. And Turkish people were the Hittites. Also, Iran is Mesopotamia. And you know the books, the 7 churches of Revelation? You know where they're at? Like Ephesus or Galatia, Laodicea, Smyrna. They're all in Turkey. So Paul, when he was writing his letter to the churches, he was going from Israel all the way to Turkey, Greece area, and all the way to Italy, Rome. Like, I always thought the disciples were in deserts, but it seems that they were on vacation. Oh, and one more thing. There's this island that I went to called Lesbos in Greece. This island, Lesbos, is located in Greece, and Paul traveled there, they say. But what's crazy is that this island had weird rituals and only allowed women, especially they had this party every year, and only women were allowed. Men were forbidden to be there. God knows what they did. But the island was called Lesbos. This is where we get the word lesbian from. Kind of crazy, huh? Paul, what were you doing visiting that island, bro?
Oh my god, that's creepy.